Welcome to episode 331 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and we got the usual suspects here this week. Welcome to Ben Roethig. How you doing, Ben?
I am fantastic. And I have to
So
say,
glad you're here.
these are some of my favorite stories of the year so far.
All right. So we got some good stuff to talk about this week, for sure. And then Marty Jencius is here. How are you doing, Marty?
I'm good. It's Thursday evening, and tomorrow is early Christmas.
It is for at least a few of us.
I get that reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll be talking about that just shortly here. And also welcome to Jeff Gamet. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing all right. And I'm feeling so much better about myself now that I realized I can pick up on references like tomorrow is Marty's early Christmas.
It's mine too.
And yours too.
Yes. So we got the usual things we talk about every week. Vision Pro this week for In Touch for Vision Pro. We got beta. We've got In Touch with Mac and news for this week. So we'll just dive right in this week. I wanted to say thank you to Marty. I was on his show on Monday, the Vision Profiles. That was a lot of fun. And we're going to talk about. Go ahead.
I enjoyed having you there. It was great.
We had a great.
Because, you do podcasts, you know how to manage podcasts, and that's always great.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun. And speaking of fun, Vision OS 2.2 beta is out, and it did add the wide and ultra wide modes on the Mac Virtual Display. It was released on your show just before the show started, and I was able to get it installed, ready to go, and I got to give you my very first hands-on of the new feature, Mac Virtual Display. What this does allow is the Vision Pro can now be used as an external display for the Mac. It's been a feature since Vision OS was released earlier this year, but now the wider options are available. You now have an equivalent to having two physical 4K displays sitting side by side on a desk and this. So there are three sizes: normal, wide, and ultra wide. And it will be probably released to the public in December alongside of all the other OSs. Still, to this date, Apple has not released public betas to Vision OS, so that is an interesting. Just always talk, since that's why they do that. So, what's your first impressions? Have you finally tried it this week, Marty?
Oh yeah, I tried it, and I tried just the straight Mac Virtual Display when it first came out, and when they announced that you could do it, and hadn't played with it much since then. So when the Ultra version came out, I went ahead and did the developer beta upgrade and got a chance to test it. I thought the screen's a lot clearer than I remember it. It's
it was.
And subsequent reports, that's what people are saying, that the detail is much better. So they've been working on getting some good functional resolution for it. So put web pages up, I could read them. I didn't have to squint. It was just easy the clarity was just really surprising. And again, I had taken a long vacation from that, using that MacBook to put anything into Vision Pro. So this was kind of a nice reintroduction.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely second that. That was pleasant surprise. And even the videos that we're playing, I played some video content as well, not full screen, but I was noticing full screen was a bit laggy. But if you watched YouTube videos and the videos embedded into whatever website, the quality was pretty good here. So what have you guys heard, Jeff or Ben, about this? Is something I think it's kind of cool. I think it's something we could definitely know that it's not something you've experienced yet, but it is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's that next step in moving Vision Pro forward. The entire platform at this point is a publicly available developer preview. So it's going to take a little while for everything to get going. And in less than a year, they've really moved it along a pretty long way.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff?
This is one of the killer features that I've been waiting to see roll out. And I'm now looking forward to seeing how much Vision Pro users take advantage of this and how much they really like it or don't like it.
I'll tell you, Reddit it's like they gave everybody a gold bar. The Reddit community is going nuts over how wonderful the ultra wide display is. There's lots of chatter, lots of people showing examples. I mean, it's topical.
All right. Here's what I really want to see with this. I want someone to have one of the new M4 Mac Minis, use it headless, except they're using the Vision Pro ultra wide thing as their display.
Yeah, that's where I want this to go.
Yeah.
Somebody posted a picture of everything in case, and in the middle of the case was a Mac Mini. And the idea that you could use it, like you were suggesting, headless. And somebody said, well, have you gotten a Mac Mini yet? But, everything fit nice and snugly in the case. And the guy said, no, I picked this picture up from somebody else. But there, again, was a lot of chatter about how fun that's going to be.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have a surprise guest. I didn't think she was going to make it this week, but she is here. I'm so excited. Kelly Guimont has made it to the show. How you doing, Kelly?
Kids, not too bad. How about you guys?
Good.
Doing well. I'm so glad you're here. We got a lot to talk about this week. And we're just talking about Vision Pro and the great new update with the virtual display that's now widescreen with two 4K displays. So that's kind of exciting. So let's go on and make it over to the next discussion about the Vision Pro. Belkin has launched a new case that just came out this week. It's they just announced the launch of a new travel bag for the Apple Vision Pro. It's an accessory that's joined recently the unveiled Belkin head strap we'll talk about in a minute. It's got a nice case. It's a pouch. It's real good quality. Belkin tends to make some great stuff. Price it's at $99.95, which is over $100 cheaper than the Apple travel case, which I'm kind of regretting buying, honestly, at this point. So it's something that's nice to see some other cases that are coming out for this. Have you taken a look at this at all yet, Marty?
Yeah. I looked at it and looked at the price and thought, I have more cases than I have headsets right now. So I am not ready to buy headsets to fill up empty cases. I have another one that I got that, because for me, travel is real important, and I don't want to carry the big marshmallow around with me. That when they first came out, it felt like a target. I was walking around with a target for someone to grab.
Yeah.
But I found one, and I'll send the link in if you're interested. Carlos. And I went down just before the show and measured the dimensions on it. And it's 8.5 by 8.5 square with a 4.5 height to it. So it makes it a little smaller than what the Belkin case is. And it's $22.99. And it's become my travel case.
Wow.
Yep. It's become my travel case for me because I like to not carry a lot of luggage. I have a Nomad sort of travel bag that I take with me on the airplane. And with this thing, I can shove it in the Nomad. And as soon as I get ready to get to my seat, I can pull that out, put the Nomad bag up in the overhead compartment. And I've got my Vision Pro with me ready to go. So it's a nice little case, hard, kind of hard shell, molded hard shell, but I like it because it doesn't have the width in it that, you shove it into something and it just causes whatever you're shoving it into burst at the seams.
Yeah. Yeah. No, if you have a link, please we'll put that in the show notes and so everybody can take a look at that. So, but the other thing is interesting is Belkin also came out with a strap that Apple didn't want to make. Apple did elect to not make a combination strap for the Apple Vision Pro. They'd used its solo knit back with the over the head support. Belkin made one instead, and this is from Apple Rumors. Apple Insider, that it did seem to give some comfort. And I know Apple does have a kind of a strap with it, which I tried briefly, and I didn't find it to be very helpful. I actually like the way it fits on the back of my head with the elastic strap. Have you used the top strap on that at all, Marty?
I haven't, when I look at the top strap, the thing that I like about the Apple strap that other people don't like is that it's Velcro.
Right.
So if it needs to raise or lower, I don't have to put both hands up there and
Whereas
move the little
knob is the
things
other one.
around to get it to raise or lower on my head. I can just kind of pull the Velcro, tighten it up, or pull the Velcro
Yep.
and drop it. I have ordered this. It's quickly moved
Not
to.
surprised.
Well, no, it quickly moved to, like late November is when I'm going to get it. The first reports I said, oh, you can get it in 2 days. I'm like, okay.
People
So I'm-
gobble it
But
up.
then they're like,
I'm
oh,
interested
wait,
to see what
not
it is.
for you.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we've heard about this guy.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
at the end of the line, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff bought all of them up and is selling
Yes.
them on the Jeff market.
I did. Yeah, you just need to go over to jeffbay.com
Mhm.
and I have a version for outside the United States, Ali Jeffy. I even started my own knockoff. So there's
Oh,
Jeffy
gosh.
Baba as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Made on the same
I-
factory during the night shift.
Yes.
I thought it was
Yeah.
one of the member perks at onlyjeffs.com.
That too.
And it's one of the perks over at onlyjeffs.com. And if you're curious about what other perks there are, use your imagination.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on.
I still don't understand how I get invited back.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kelly, and I'm not helping.
Last
No.
last topic for with Vision Pro. Apple is going to be planning on consolidating its Vision Pro demo areas in stores amid rumors of slowing sales and reduced production. It's looking to consolidate the retail space dedicated to the Vision Pro headset in some store locations. This was from Mark Gurman, actually, from Bloomberg. Most stores have 2 tables dedicated to the Vision Pro, one for display units or one for customer demos, and Apple's plan to move both the demo and the display section to a single table, using the extra space to display the new M4 Mac models. Makes sense. Gurman says that Apple is piloting this new store arrangement, and the change will only be coming to some locations at this time. So Apple had planned to dedicate less retail space to Vision Pro comes 2 weeks after there was an article in the information saying that Apple had reduced Vision Pro production and could make the device entirely stop making the device entirely after the end of 2024. We will see. What do you think, Marty?
Well, the last time I was in an Apple store, which was maybe 2 weeks ago, there was one guy working the Vision Pro table. And then I guess there was another with the displays on it. But the guy working the Vision Pro table was like the sad carny at a fair, hoping people will come up and go on his ride. And so I think, people are stopping in, still looking at it and like, hey, let's check this out. But there aren't people who are looking at purchasing at this point. So consolidating those 2 tables in some stores just makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's pretty much just the Mac Pro and headset form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
I just think it's interesting that they would do it just before Christmas, which is when I would think people would be the most likely to be convincible to spend that kind of money on a thing. So
yeah.
that I think the timing is unusual in that respect, but that's all. So
And
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
like
not
it says,
surprised.
it's
I'm
only
surprised about when.
it's only some stores. So like here in Chicago, I tend to doubt any of the Chicago locations are going to be involved. I would be surprised because most of them have a lot of heavy traffic.
Yeah.
As well as, big metropolitan areas, maybe Portland or even in Denver or even in Cleveland or Cincinnati in Ohio. So, I mean, I don't see it, in these big locations, but probably the smaller locations probably would make
We
more
have
sense.
3 stores, so it's possible it will be at one, but maybe not one of the other 2.
Yeah. Or they'll to reduce it. Yeah. It's going to be available. So.
yeah, I'm looking at
So,
this article. And I'm surprised by one thing, that this is the first Mac Rumors article about the Vision Pro where they didn't quote the price. Because, that's something we all don't know at this point. And then they, in their traditional Mac Rumors way, kind of end off with the doom and gloom sort of scenario that it's all falling apart and etc. Yeah.
Are you saying
you
they
and I
should
are used to this.
close all the doors and return the money to the shareholders? Is that what it means?
Yeah.
You know,
Hey,
Marty,
Apple
if
is
you're going to
doomed.
compete with Tom's Hardware, then you have to include doom and gloom all the time. For Apple.
Everybody
That's
says Apple is
just
doomed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just how it works.
doomed.
Apple is doomed. So, all right, that's Vision Pro for this week. Let's go ahead and move on to beta. iOS 18.2 Beta 2 was released this week. Of course, this is the supported version on the iPhone 15 Pro and higher, and all of the 16 models. They did add this has more support with Genmojis, Image Playground, and ChatGPT integration. We're already on 18.1 and already getting good experience with Apple Intelligence. We haven't been able to get. Did you get access to Image Playground yet, Marty? I know you said you applied. Tried to apply for it.
Yeah, I
got it.
I got access to Image Playground.
Oh, I want to hear it now.
I'm not impressed.
Okay.
And I tried to put a sample in. I'll reframe, but I tried to put the sample of me according to Image Playground. I put my daughter into Image Playground to kind of, and she's a singer, and it took like 15 years off of her, and it was kind of creepy for me as a parent, because it was like, they turned her into a Bratz doll, if remember that, little dolls, whatever. And so, yeah, the images that have been generated are just kind of creepy. So I haven't, this is not my circus and it's not my monkeys. So this is for someone else who's interested in this kind of stuff. But it's not, the Image Playground's not something I see myself using very much.
Yeah,
At least how it is now.
very early. Yeah. I have a friend who tried it and he said, okay, I'm going to start with a picture of you. And so then he was showing me the process of it. And it was like, oh, okay, here's Kelly. And then it gave 5 pictures of me,
Right.
one of which, or 2 of which were many years old, number 1. Number 2, the other, like 2 of the remaining 3 were not good pictures. And then there was another one that is like a weird angle and very low lit. So it doesn't really it looks like a MySpace photo while we're blasting from the past, and not like me. And then he went, okay, but look. And then he went on his phone and typed in my name and it went, hi, here's like stacks and stacks and stacks of pictures of Kelly. And he's like, why did you pick these 5 that are dumb? like none of them were helpful. And so then it was like, oh, okay, well, let's try putting Kelly karaoke. And like every picture was terrible. And then some of them were worse. And that's even before you get to what Apple Intelligence did to my hair.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it chose pictures, and then the output, I put one picture in, and the output, and I have I'm self-conscious about my weight. I am overweight, but I don't need Genmoji to make me even fatter in some of the pictures. It was like, wait a minute, where'd this come from? So
well, you just shared your photo, and it is kind of funky, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, I've played with it a little bit, but I have to say I agree with Jason and Mike's take on Upgrade this week. It reminds me a lot of like Stable Diffusion stuff from like 2.5, 3 years ago. It's a start. I mean, it's still very much in the very early beta, even of 18.2. It will get better, but at this point, it's more for everyone's amusement than it is any actual useful, thing.
Well, and it's beta right now, so it's not
Yeah.
even 1.0
Right.
at this point. It's just reasonable enough that it's not going to brick your phone or brick your computer, and so they've put it out, right? So This feels like the same kind of thing as like when Apple made their own map and everybody went, why would you do this when Google makes one that's fine? And it was terrible for a while before it kind of got its poop in a group, so to speak. And I think Apple Intelligence is going to have the same problem. I was hoping that because it was coming, that some of the other stuff that they said was going to be improved and like the sharp edges kind of filed off of over time with any sort of voice interaction you have with the assistant in your phone or the assistant in your speakers was going to also help. And at this point, I have seen none of that. And I almost feel like the assistant that I use has even less intelligence than Apple intelligence at this point. So like, yeah, sometimes I know it doesn't have hands, do not at me, but sometimes I feel like my speakers can't find their butts with both hands in a map.
Kelly, our speakers must be related.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as just before they announced Apple Intelligence when I think it was on the after show, I went, I'm convinced every assistant at my house has completely lost its fool mind. Like, none of them can do anything. None of them could tell me what the weather was. Like, it was really, really rough. And I didn't realize how much I relied on them doing the barest. Well, I didn't realize what I thought the barest minimum was, which was turn on some lights and add things to a shopping list and occasionally turn on an Apple TV. Until like I was doing those things all the time and my assistant was like, now playing Duran Duran. I'm like, I like that, but that's not what I asked you to do. In other circumstances, that would be fine. I was trying to get you to turn on the water boiler, not no, sweetie, no. So it's been kind of rough at my house. It got better, but I feel like it's gonna get worse again before things actually improve.
Oh, today S Lady insisted it did not have an app for an address. It's like, no, you're supposed to put it in the map. Yes, it is true.
And we all know technically correct is the best kind of correct.
Yes. I did not have
its little silicon heart.
Yep. I did not have an app for University Avenue. Please pull over.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. So that's the notable feature. I'm not going to go through all of them for this week. A couple notable things that are here in iOS 18.2 beta. It is going to let you track progress of Safari downloads on the lock screen. So it'll expand live activity support to those to ongoing Safari downloads, allowing you to quickly track the progress of file downloads on the iPhone's lock screen and in the dynamic island on 14 Pro models and newer. This is a minor but useful improvement for 18.2, but of course it's still in beta. So that's a kind of a cool thing that does see, because you never really knew when things were downloaded, when it was going to be what the status was going to be. So other thing they're saying that 18.2 could show how long iPhone will take to charge. I like this. They are apparently working on a new battery charging feature for the iPhone that will let you show users how much time it will take for their device to reach a full charge. This code was unearthed in the latest beta, and through 9to5Mac and Mac Rumors here, that it was a new battery intelligence framework that apparently allows systems to calculate an estimated charge completion time, which the feature has not been enabled yet. Apple does implement it in the public. And if Apple does implement it in the public release, you'll be able to notify users what it takes to get their iPhone to a specific range. I think that's another cool feature if that happens. Of course, they're just finding code, so this really isn't officially out there yet. So the other thing they're working on, Apple is preparing for upcoming S Ladies on-screen awareness features. That's that's a new API for developers. What that is it's going to been providing developers intent APIs so apps are ready for their new capabilities. So with the wave of new betas, Apple has this new API that lets developers make on-screen content in their apps available for S Lady and Apple Intelligence. So more kind of behind the scenes things here that they're looking to add here as well, which is cool. One last thing that I found also was the Find My has now gained an option to share lost item location with an airline or trusted person on 18.2. Apple has added this new feature to the Find My app, which is designed to allow you to share a lost item's location with a trusted person. Now, Apple says the feature is meant to help you locate it through a third party like an airline employee. So that's kind of cool. Sharing that item location and show contact info gives you a link to it creates a link to allow someone to see that location's lost and of the lost item when they open the link. So another way to get even more support when something is lost, especially at the airport and your luggage tends to get MIA sometimes. So that's 18.2. Briefly talk about Watch OS 11.2. That's out to the developers. That was seeded this week. Not much to really say about Watch OS. There really hasn't been anything of worthy to talk about when it comes to Watch OS. tvOS though has some cool things that they're adding in tvOS. Notably, the tvOS is actually adding a support for a 21:9 projector aspect ratio. That's the ratio that the projectors use. So if you are hooking your Apple TV to a projection TV, then this is going to give you that ability to do that, which is kind of cool. The other thing that tvOS is going to have some new wallpapers. So you got to make some improved screensavers. One of them is going to be Snoopy. There's some code in the latest beta showing that there's 4 categories of screensavers, including Snoopy, TV, and movies, music, and soundscapes. So at least you seeing there's some enhancements here when it comes to tvOS. So anybody want to add anything on those topics before we move on?
I just want to, again, go on the record and say that I think if Apple really wants to be successful with this whole we make TV shows thing, what they need to do is they need to make a show that is all about how they make the screensavers that you watch between shows.
Yes.
I would watch crap out of that show. I've said this for years. All I want is and I don't need all the secrets. I don't need all the nuts and bolts. I just want to know things like we got scuba divers. Here's how we got on the International Space Station to get everything from above. I don't need every detail. You don't have to scroll through all the emails. I don't need a PowerPoint presentation. Just show me this is how we did it. It would be great. I would be fascinated. I would love to see those things.
What did they have to go through to get permits to do the footage of the Great Wall of China?
I'm very curious about that. Oh, wait. This just in. My house has a theory.
This is Tim.
This is why TikTok is on the front page of the App Store every single day.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the trade. You heard it here first.
There you go. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to In Touch with Mac this week, because there's been so much discussion. Last week we went through all the announcements on all the Macs that were released. So this week they're going to be hitting the stores tomorrow as we record here on November 8th, 2024. What's the consensus so far? A lot of reviews here. I think a couple of us here are going to be buying some new devices. I am going to buy a new Mac Mini M4 Pro, and that is already reserved and ready to be picked up tomorrow morning. I'm excited. And I got a little extra gift money, so I think I'm going to get a second one. I'm going to get the M4, so I'll have that as a beta device, and have 2 Mac Minis available at my disposal. And I'm really looking on the M4 Pro because it's getting some rave reviews of just how powerful it is for if it's ever been. I mean, the Mac Mini has just been always a mainstay for that small footprint, but to have it be little 5x5 little device, almost the size of an Apple TV. I can't wait to get my hands on it and see it tomorrow.
It will fit in your pocket, not mine.
But
will. It'll fit in yours.
Yeah. It probably will. It probably will. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see where what is going to be, and I definitely will report back my views. And I know Marty, you said you're doing the same thing. You're going to buy some. Buy a Mac Mini.
Yeah, I've got a Mac Mini coming tomorrow, M4 Pro chip with 12-core CPU, 16-core GPU, and 16-core neural engine, 24 gigabytes unified memory, and then 512 for SSD storage. So I will be able to call up my mail really quick to read.
Yeah,
Actually,
I got the same one.
I was going to replace it. I was going to replace my Office Mac Mini with it, but I don't spend a lot of time at my office using the office computer, which now is a Dell that they gave me. So I got that hooked up. I brought the Mini that I'm trading in home, and you can probably see on the video, I've got another monitor in my room where I'm planning on doing the teardown and setup of the new Mac Mini with it. I'm seriously considering waiting to see what happens with the Ultra in spring and instead maybe investing in a high-end Mac Mini, which I can put in your pocket, but not Kelly's.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Can we?
that's
before
the
we
Mac
move-
Mini.
Oh,
yeah.
no, wait.
Go ahead.
I wanted to talk about the iMac, so that's where you're headed. So I skipped ahead.
I am headed there. Yes. So the next was the M4 iMac. A lot of the influencers have got their devices. That's why a lot of watch. Notably, Justine had it, and she did a great review. And of course, she's over the moon about the pink. They have a nice pink color in the iMac. I know not everybody likes pink, but she does, and she's an influencer, so I was getting a chuckle out of that. But it's a very powerful device for what it's doing. It's probably one of the better of the two. And a lot of people are probably okay. And a little bit, and there was an article here. I did Ars Technica here that's saying that they're at peace with the death of the 27-inch model, because that's a really good screen on this. And having the basic 16 gigs RAM, $1299 model, and has the powerful processors and the M4, I think is a very good machine. You got a lot of good choices in colors, into whatever you like. And if you want to chime in and get your thoughts on what the iMac is, go ahead, Kelly.
Well, two things. First of all, I'm sad they're not making things with a bigger screen, and I'm sure that the research backs up that a lot of people weren't buying them. But if it were possible to buy a 27-inch iMac, I would probably, that would target disk, I would probably get one, and it would just have a bonus computer on the back of it, and that would be amazing, which is what people used to do with great big iMacs. It was kind of nice. You had this awesome display that just happened to come with a whole computer buckled to the back. And a thing I did notice is Cupertino giveth. We've eliminated another thing that takes lightning, and so now you don't have to charge your mouse with a lightning port. It's USB-C. And Cupertino taketh away. That SOB is still on the bottom, and you can't do anything with your mouse until it's done charging. And I feel like that melon farmer should have been addressed, and it wasn't.
Nope.
And it's a very confusing decision. Of all the things to leave the same, we're going to do enough engineering to make it not be lightning, but we're not going to do enough engineering to get it off the bottom. Or even just make it MagSafe so I can use the thing for my phone, for my mouse. That would be awesome. But no.
Yeah.
Kelly, I think it was a passive-aggressive move on Apple's part because they didn't want to put USB-C in there anyhow. So it was like when Steve Jobs during AntennaGate stood up in front of the cameras and said, "You want bumpers for your phone? Fine. We'll give you a bumper."
Mm-hmm.
That's what just happened with USB-C on the mouse.
But the opportunity to sell people another $29 majigger for their computer so that you could set it on a thing and have it charge is just like, of all the ways to leave money on the table, that's not one I expected Apple to exercise.
And yet here we are.
I know.
Yeah.
Things are weird in 2024. That's all I can tell you.
Boy, howdy.
But it was a very worthy upgrade. The iMacs are going to be I think are going to be hot sellers for ones.
The computer is amazing. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The computer looks great. Like, the colors are nice. I've seen the screens on the previous iteration of the iMac, and they're super great. It all looks really nice. I'm glad to see them. We have a number of clients at work who are absolutely in the market to upgrade to something like this. And I can't wait to see how they perform in the field. I think they're awesome. It's a super solid computer. I'm just really confused about that mouse.
Yeah, you and me both. The MacBook Pros were released with the M4 and the M4 Pro, and you also can have the M4 Max for the Pro. Much brighter screens. You got a little bit of a redesign. The base model is going to be very worthy with the M4 MacBook Pro 14-inch. Then you're going to have the 16-inch with the Mac, which is the M4 Pro, and you also get it in the M4 Max for those who are doing a lot of hardcore video editing. And you got the ProMotion displays, and you can, it's a backlit LED. It's the technology. You can also get the other, what is it called? The non-glare screen. I forgot
Nanotexture.
Nanotexture. So now you can add that to the Mac, as well as on the iMac. I forgot to mention that the Nanotech screen is available on that as well. And influencers were showing that, and you definitely can see a difference with when it's on camera. It was showing that you can. It does make quite a difference to have that. So with the Nanotexture screens on the MacBook Pros as well.
Yeah, I mean, Dave 2D showed it up. You could see the fluorescent light overhead clearly in the M3 MacBook Pro. You could not see it at all in the Nanotexture M4 Pro.
Right. So what?
I remember when non-glare screens were just what Apple gave us.
Mm-hmm.
And now here's all these people, and they're just super excited that Apple is now charging us for what, as Kelly has pointed out, Apple giveth, Apple taketh away. But now Apple giveth back with a price tag.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Mac Minis, MacBook Pros are going to have to be flying off the shelf. You may possibly get one. You're down, Ben. You think possibly?
Usually, Best Buy does something around Christmas where they gave you 36-month financing. So far, not only the leaked benchmarks have been insane, the real world performance has been insane. So I originally was going to wait till OLED showed up, but I mean, this mini LED screen has been phenomenal for 3 years now, and I think it just might be time.
There you go. Yeah, a worthy upgrade. So I kept forgetting to mention everybody in the chat room here on youtube.com/intouchwithiOS. We have Cletus, we have Brian. Got some good interaction here, but they're talking about the USB-C and the Magic Mouse and all kinds of other stuff so you come join us on the Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can come join us live and chat with us as we're recording the show here. So I'm glad to see everybody here. The other thing that I was going to talk about here with the MacBook Pro, the MacBook, or Mac OS, I should say, Mac OS high power mode is going to come to the MacBook Pro and the Mac Mini with the M4 Pro. So the first reviews have come through, and they've now seen this. Interesting tidbit has emerged that Apple has expanded its high power mode in Mac OS to the M4 Pro configurations on the Mini and the Pro. During the M1 and M2 generations, high power mode was only available on the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Last year, Apple expanded it to the 14-inch MacBook Pro powered by the M3 Max. This time around, the high power mode is expanding once again. Now it's going to be on the M4 Pro. So with us having the Mac Mini with the M4 Pro, we're going to be able to have this. What it does is it gives performance gains when you use the high power mode, because it essentially has it allowing for the fan to have up higher, so it keeps the processor cool, but also improves and increases performance. So this is interesting to see. Anybody have any comments about this?
Can we just have them change the name to Apple Clocking?
I like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, we know for everyday tasks, these things can be just not phenomenally quiet and efficient. The ability to basically turn on the afterburner, if you don't mind the fans, and just go from really good performance to, a pro laptop can do that. It's a win-win for everybody.
Is it nitro? Is that what it is in car racing that they?
Yes,
the tank that they
NOx.
buckle on that you hit that and then yeah, that I believe that was the technical term.
Mm-hmm.
So why does a Mini need this if it's not ever running on a battery? It's not a laptop. Like
Noise.
I can understand having it for like, not only am I plugged in, which means I want, maximum effort, but no, for real, I want maximum effort. Like a Mini's never unplugged. And so that's why like finding out that like it's very exciting this is coming to the Mini is very weird to me.
Yeah, I think it's just to improve that performance, even though it's a desktop.
But I mean, also like, the other thing is like maximum fan. I have an M1. I have like the OG M1 MacBook Pro from 2020, and
same here.
Maximum fan is nothing compared to any other fan that ever came in an Apple computer before the M series chip. I'm not even kidding. I've done things specifically to max it out, and the first time I did it, I was transcoding video because I wanted to see what would happen. Like I've never heard the fan in my computer. Let's find out if I can make that happen. So I did. So I went and transcoded like a 2-hour video from something into something else. And after a while I was like, wait, what's that noise?
Yeah.
Wait, I think that's the fan. And then it was like, no, wait, that's maximum fan. And maximum fan is like first gear on any other fan in any other computer.
Yeah.
Like, it really is.
Yeah. I mean, I had to have it on like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, full settings. It was like, wait, is that what I think it is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
hard. If I'm not setting out, I have never heard the fan kick on my M1 MacBook Pro if I did not sit down and intend to make it happen. Like, I'm going to go transcode video. I'm going to compress this 2-hour audio file into something else, like that kind of thing, like a great big bunch of processor heavy stuff that I was doing. That will do it. But otherwise, like I've never been able to do anything. And I'm not a lightweight user. I have several internets open in tabs at any given point. I have lots of other programs running. I don't ever quit stuff. And my uptime is usually a nightmare. And like it never breaks a sweat because I've never heard the fan come on when I didn't sit down and go, I'm going to make the fan happen. So
I'm just curious if, the fan going on was a common occurrence for us and for particularly Intel's. I'm wondering if we're so used to that as a benchmark that now with the new chips and the efficiency of them, that what we're asking it to do, we really have to come up with some ridiculous amount of assignments for it to do to even get there. So, our chip and the hardware has improved beyond what the capabilities are that anybody's going to use it at this time, unless they're deliberately trying to muck it up.
Yeah. Or doing the.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the news stories I have for this week. How to fix the iPhone notes disappearing after accepting the new iCloud terms. Now, Apple in September updated its iCloud terms and conditions with some minor changes. And this week had been notifying iPhone users that they must accept the revised terms in order to continue to use iCloud. Unfortunately, after accepting these new terms, some iPhone users have seen all of their notes disappear in the Notes app. Oh my. While some users have turned to social media to justifiably panic about their notes being gone, thankfully the issue can be fixed, and there's some steps below here. Going into the Settings app and going into tapping your name, tapping iCloud, and going to Notes. Turn on sync this iPhone, green on if it's already on, and turn on and off again. I seem to have heard that term before. In Notes app, wait. I'm thinking of an IT crowd.
Yes.
In the Notes app, you wait several minutes, and then the notes will be restored. So, this has been monitored that this has been happening, and Apple, of course, has not commented on this. So, interesting why this happened. I don't know why, but Good PSA for everybody. This is happening and how to take care of it. Anybody want to add anything to that?
Apple was waiting for Apple was
waiting.
waiting for Mac Rumors to comment on it first. So
All right. Yeah, right.
I got that pop up on my iPad this morning, and so I accepted on my iPad and didn't think about it. And so when I saw this headline, I was very worried that, oh no, because I have hundreds of notes. I have stuff that's shared with other people. It's like where I've started dumping things after Evernote started really not being the right tool for the job anymore. So like everything has moved over to Notes now. I have stuff that's shared with Mr. Kelly so that we have like, house things, like, measurements of things and like model numbers of things. So, if you're at the store, you can get whatever information you need, that kind of stuff. So I was very panicked just now, like, oh no, I didn't know this was a problem. So luckily all my notes are on my phone. So that was very worrisome though for a minute. Yeah.
Jeff, you got any thoughts?
I'm just kind of shaking my head that problems like this.
You don't use Notes, so I think you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, Notes gets used occasionally because other things will want to dump stuff in there, but I don't really use Notes.
Yep.
And well, here's the thing. It's really easy for us to bag on a company when a core application stops functioning correctly. Like you
Microsoft all the time.
Like Microsoft all the time. Yeah. But in this case, this whole Notes debacle.
Yeah.
And sure, companies should be able to catch stuff like this before it happens. But the reality is we're talking about operating systems that have become so insanely complex that there's no way to test for all the possible scenarios for something as simple as accept the new terms of service. And then something like this happens.
But I think also part of this is probably that it would not be outside the realm of possibility. I am not a developer. I've not seen the source code. I do not know this. I have not seen this to confirm, but I am reasonably certain that there is code that was on the first iPhone all of us bought, whether it was the first iPhone, that is on the iPhone in your pocket today.
Mm-hmm.
The exact same code is powering something. What? Don't know. But it's in there, and it's been there the whole time. And it's all getting to be kind of a Weasley house at this point. So it's entirely possible that this was just fallout that no matter what kind of automated testing suite they have, no matter what kind of people they have in there trying to be nefarious and break things like this, something like this that seems like it should be pretty straightforward and had some sort of unanticipated consequence is not uncommon at this point.
Yeah. And I can almost guarantee someone's voicemail or message client Apple got this message. This is Tim. Fix it quietly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Apple's defense, they have a long, long history of solid, reliable, quality cloud services. I can't believe I actually got through that whole thing with a straight face. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're the guys that made Mobile Me.
Hold on. Let me delete this message to David asking him if Jeff is having a stroke live on the air.
That's fair.
Send. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, I remember talking Jeff through resolving the issue when he'd updated to the version of iPhone OS that made it so the phone didn't work anymore.
I needed moral support with that one. I remember that too. I was standing outside Starbucks on Pearl Street Mall, and then I said some things.
It started to snow. Yeah.
Oh, good times.
All right. So next story here, Apple has adjusted some of the trade-in values for select iPads and Apple Watch models. Apple did adjust some of the trade-in values for deselect devices in the US, iPad models, and increased values for watch models, and some changes to Android phone models, which I didn't even know they took those in as trades, but I guess they do. So if you look at
they'll take everything.
That's what I say. Yeah, it was kind of weird. So it was $150 for a Pixel 7 Pro. Okay,
nice.
Galaxy S23 Ultra, you get $365. Well, it was $390. But the watch is still standing. Series 9 went up from 170 to 180. So still, I kind of think that's still kind of low in my opinion. Especially that's only 1 year prior model. But the Ultra is 295 and the Ultra 2 is 375. So that just notes. But I think Apple is being very generous, honestly, with the trade-ins as of late. When I go buy those Mac Minis, I have 2 Mac Minis I'm trading in, and I'm getting $230 for the M1, the first gen
Really?
model. That was 2020. Yep. So that's 8 gig and 256, and they're giving me $230 for it. So
there's one under the desk behind me that might get upgraded.
Yeah.
If
So,
they're going to give you
I've
$200
got
for it, yeah.
those two to trade in, plus I got a gift card, so I got some stuff to buy.
Yeah.
So
That's almost a
next
buck a
week
gig.
we're in touch with
I know.
David's money.
buck a gig. But I'm getting all kinds of good discounts here. So that's that. RIP for the Apple stickers. Well, sort of, kind of. It is an end of an era because Apple had pretty much nearly stopped putting the Apple stickers in the boxes for any devices these days. And I got my iPhone 16 didn't have it. The Vision Pro didn't have it. I got an iPad Pro, didn't have it. The Air doesn't have it. And then the unboxing videos were shared today as influencers were going with Mac models and didn't have it either. So they aren't including it, but you can still ask to receive the Apple stickers for free when you purchase one of these devices in person at an Apple store, which I think I'm going to try to do tomorrow.
Yes.
You provide them, and I will report back, providing that they have the supply. So the era of Apple stickers isn't completely over. You'll just have to no longer find them inside the box.
Aren't Apple stickers still available on gift cards? Yeah, there is a peelable. You can peel off that. Because I took somebody to the store and they bought a bunch of gift cards so they could then buy an item with them. And the person said, "Do you want the gift cards back?" And he said, "Well, yeah, sure." And I said, "Yeah, at least he can peel off the stickers on the card." The guy said, "Yeah, you can."
Mm-hmm.
A special sticker. It must have been a special gift card. I don't recall that.
I was today years old when I found out that was a thing.
Mhm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
when you're in the store,
Apparently.
Dave, tomorrow, ask him about that.
I will. Well, of course, my gift card is electronic, so right to my Apple account.
But,
Mhm.
that's cool.
I will check that out.
The Apple logo is a collectible sticker on the Apple gift cards.
Physical
Yeah.
gift cards. Huh. Very good. Didn't know that. All right. A couple more stories here. The Apple continues to work to get the blood oxygen sensing back in the U.S. as Apple Watches as the next Masimo trial begins. Apple and Masimo are back in court in California for this week for a bench trial that will see Masimo arguing that Apple illegally poached its employees and stole trade secrets when developing Apple Watch. Masimo first filed this trade secret lawsuit in 2020, and there was a jury trial in 2023. During the trial, the court threw out more than half of Masimo's trade secret claims, but the judge ultimately declared a mistrial because the jury was not able to come to a final decision. 6 of the 7 jurors sided with Apple, while one Masimo holdout would not change her opinion. Apple and Masimo were slated to retry the case with another jury, and then Masimo abandoned all claims asking for monetary compensation in order to get a bench trial instead. And they got their money and requested $1.85 billion in damages, and along with reasonable royalties. And I guess Apple didn't like that. So again, it was a 17 patents. We know the whole story here. So I'm hoping this gets cleared up. I know there was news about the CEO had just left Masimo, so I'm wondering if that's going to have any influence on this. What do you think, Jeff, on this?
I would like to think that the new CEO will be more receptive to working with companies because it seemed like the previous CEO, it wasn't just Apple that he had trouble with. He wasn't interested in working with any other companies.
No.
And it seems to me like Massimo's return on investment would be much higher if they were able to in good faith negotiate deals with companies, as opposed to what it appears to be what we've had, which is stringing companies along and then saying, no, we're not going to do anything. and then ending up with very expensive court cases.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Anything, Kelly? Anything, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm trying to put it together. Like, yeah, I just, it's just, I want it to be decided is really where it's at, like one way or another. And I don't care which, but having everything be in limbo and moving at the speed of the court system is mostly frustrating because like, I know that there are people who rely on this feature or would like to rely on this feature. And it's more, for people who are having a hard time with that it would just be nice for it to be decided. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben. What do you think?
I think this should be wrapped up relatively quickly. The founder was very protective of what he founded, and the new board, they just wanted an ROI here. So, they need some patents from Apple to make their stuff work. Apple needs patents from them to make the Apple Watch work. I think now that there are level heads involved, there's going to be some horse trading, and they're going to come to an agreement.
Yep. Okay. And you, Marty, wrap it up here.
It's from what I understand, the components are still in the Series 10, so they haven't taken them out. But so the solution,
but only in the EU.
Yeah, only in the EU they're taking the parts out. Okay, but the solution
only in the EU is it available.
Oh,
it's the same watch worldwide. It's software disabled in the US only.
That's
in the US.
Yeah.
Right.
So the solution is got to include some settlement that will allow them to flick the software back on, and then some continued relationship with the company if they're going to plan on continue to use the components in future watches. I think it's a win-win for both companies to get out of this litigation.
Absolutely. Because while they're tied up with all this with Apple, it's not like they can shop it to anybody else either.
Yeah.
And I assume the continuing litigation is why Apple hasn't just written an absurdly sized check and had Ed McMahon deliver it and say, congratulations, we own you now.
This is true.
Which, given Massimo's speaker portfolio, would actually make a lot of sense for Apple now that he's out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't see Apple buying Massimo. I could see them writing them a nice check and saying, "Here, go away."
Yeah,
but not
one way or
not
another.
buying them. Yeah, because there's a bunch of reasons. First, does Apple really want to be in the business of managing all of the patents and products that are based off of legitimately licensed Massimo patents? Also, it's a publicly traded company. So how does Apple make that deal come together without the stock price going just absolutely crazy? And then also, I would assume with as bitter as the previous CEO was, the company probably has a poison pill in place.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, but I love the idea of here's a check. We'll all just pretend like none of this happened, and you go away. And
We're all
Massimo's
friends
like,
now.
and we'll all
and
go
then
away.
we can turn this back on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Going to talk about this story. We just love talking about American automaker General Motors, who last year announced that it would be phasing out support for CarPlay and Android Auto in its new electric vehicles in favor of its own software platform called Ulitify. The decision had been very controversial, as many drivers consider CarPlay to be the must-have feature, 100% in my opinion. I think all of us here will agree with that. And in 2022, for example, Apple said 79% of U.S. buyers would only consider a vehicle that had CarPlay. To make matters worse, GM's rollout of Ulitify went rather poorly, with some early reviewers saying in the Chevy Blazer EV last year experiencing technical issues with the platform. Some of those problems have since been resolved, but it's clear the automaker might not have been as effective in developing software as a tech company like Apple. So there's a recent interview with The Verge, and Nilay Patel, GM's senior vice president of software, Baris Sanok, further attempted to defend the automaker's decision to phase out CarPlay, and he was working for Apple from 2012 to 2021, helped to spearhead the launch of Apple Pay, Find My, iCloud Drive, and more. And he had just joined months after GM had announced this with the CarPlay, and he also told Patel that GM believes a strong conviction that creating its entire in-vehicle experience provides a better customer experience with end-to-end magic. I can go on, but I want everybody's opinion here. I'm still not going to buy a GM car, right, Ben?
Yes. Growing up as someone who was a Chevy fanboy, whose great uncle owned a Chevy dealership, yeah, it's Mary Barra's time to go. She's running what was once the greatest automaker right into the effing ground.
Yeah.
It's just baffling to me. Like I understand wanting to own the experience. I understand we can't charge an annual fee for, we can't extract more money from people on a yearly basis if we're not the ones that own the experience end to end. But also, when the point of what you do is make automobiles, maybe if you've mastered hardware, you should let somebody else who lives and breathes software take care of the software bit for you. And that's the thing that I don't get. Like, what is it? Where does it say? The map that I'm using doesn't really talk to my car. I don't need it to. I don't know where that map has been. I don't know where it got its information. It might be one of those sketchy maps that you hear about on the evening news. I don't know. I don't ever want that to happen. Keep your chocolate out of my peanut butter, and everything can be fine. And I think that's the part to me that is the most confusing, is like why you're not giving people an option, if nothing else. Like, you can use this or you can use that. And the fact that they were phasing it out, like, this is the kind of thing that when my house is shopping for a car in the future, one of the things we're going to do is go to the Chevy dealership and say, hi, I am not buying a car from you. And you need to know that I was never here for an entry-level model. I was going to buy the rust undercoating. I'm going to get the infotainment system. I'm picking up the extended warranty. And I'm doing it down the street because y'all won't give me CarPlay. Thanks, bye.
Yep.
Yeah,
I said good day.
Yes. And meanwhile, Ford is sending fruit baskets to the Renaissance Center for all those sales GM is giving them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, get in here. I know you have thoughts.
All right, let's take a look at the statement here. They're going to give a better customer experience with end-to-end magic. You know who else said that? Willy Wonka.
Which is.
And you know how that worked out? Toxic work environment and poor customer experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's exactly what's going to happen here. It's going to be a disappointment for everyone except the movie rights holders.
Yes.
Y'all can look it up. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory has 0 stars on Yelp.
There you go.
Yes, they're definitely living in a world of pure imagination.
Boy, howdy. Yeah, they are.
Yes.
And I think that this is exactly the sort of thing that is ultimately going to not work out the way that GM thinks it's going to work out.
Well, because they think it's going to work out, and they are mistaken.
Marty, you have the last word on this.
Yeah, I think is this a data thing? Do they think they can get money off the data since
That's
it's their
part
system?
of it.
I assumed it
they
was the
want to
subscription.
sell you subscriptions for all the different services.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. My daughter just got a new car this week, and she got a Subaru Crosstrek. And, the first thing I asked her, at the dealer, because we went together, was, does it have CarPlay? They're like, oh, yeah. My wife went with her to pick up the car, and they came in and they showed them how to use the touch panel and all that. And the first thing she did before she got off the lot was set up CarPlay. She's been used to a 10-year-old car where, you plug the phone in and then you use it as an external device. And she does a lot of commuting from place to place and also listens to a lot of music because of her job. And this is great. for her that she's just, and Aileen was like, she's just hitting the touchpad and going. I mean, it's just amazing the way it got set up for her. So, and customers
and I had
who know about it want it. Yeah.
And I had the same experience. We just bought a new car for my wife. She had a 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and it's got CarPlay. She never had CarPlay. She had a much older Jeep Grand Cherokee, and she is loving it. And because that exact reason, it's just a good experience. And then you can sell all your cars you want, GM, but I would never buy one if you don't have CarPlay. So
even with the wire, like plugging it in and having it instantly work with everything, and not having to do, Marty, what your daughter was doing, because the 2012 Subaru at my house is exactly that way. And every single time I get a new phone, the Outback hates it in a new and exciting way.
Right.
And so it's super not great. And I don't like having to fight with it. And I can't do anything about it because rebooting it is turn the car off and on again, which is untenable. And you can't do anything with the connection while you're moving, like at all. Yeah. So it's always really hard to sort it out if it decides it doesn't feel like connecting anymore. Yeah. So
Dave turned me on to a really good Bluetooth thing, and it's been infallible with my phone into CarPlay now. So we talk after the show and Dave can give you that.
Yes.
Yeah, we can throw that link in it. That's a tables. It's an adapter that you can put
that's going on my
your car
list.
Doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's wireless. Yeah, because my wife got the Grand Cherokee's got the wireless, which is amazing. And I don't have that, but I have the adapter, and I'm very happy. It has its bugs. Sometimes you got to unplug it and plug it back in again, get it to work. So. Hey, I wanted to give a shout out to a couple of people in the chat here. We have a new listener that I'm not familiar with, Joe3545U. He said the Chevy's EV rollout as of Q4 2024 has been pretty successful up to this point this year. He doesn't think that Mary Bear is going to be going anywhere. He also said Tesla doesn't support CarPlay. Neither does Rivian in the EV world. Choices are VW, Ford, and Kia, and Hyundai, to name a few. And then Joe also says the bigger issue why Apple does not have Apple Music app in the Google Play Store is for GM for the GM EVs. So a lot of good discussion about this.
Question.
I'm glad it is. Yeah, it is. So a lot of good discussion about this. I knew this would be a good story to talk about. Let me wrap up here with two more quick stories here. Max, which is also known as HBO Max, is telling people that their password shares are going to have to pay more, and streaming services continue to do this crackdown. Netflix, Disney Plus, it's just been killing me because we got family. Why do I want to? Why we want to do this? And I recently just put the bundle together with Max and Disney Plus and Hulu. So we'll see how that goes with password sharing, but. Their intent is to do the same thing like against password sharing, but they tried to do it. They hadn't done anything about it, but it looks like towards the end of this year, if not 2026, that they're gonna continue to do this. And this again, it's not much else to say about this other than this is an unfortunate reality that they just don't want you to share their passwords anymore they want their money because I think they don't have any, like they don't already make enough money in streaming services as it is anyway, because we're paying a lot of money for these services. So. And anybody want to have any thoughts on that?
I look forward to seeing how people get around it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they will.
Mm-hmm.
Our last story.
I can't think of the last.
Oh,
go ahead.
Played.
No, that's okay. We were already in the mail one. That's cool.
I couldn't resist leaving that so I could play it on the show here. America Online. We all loved America Online, didn't we, back in the 90s? It was AOL, and then the You've Got Mail guy, I know, I'm kidding. Elwood Edwards has passed away at the age of 74. He was the voice of AOL's You've Got Mail greeting. He passed away after a long illness. He was also said, file's done, and
goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, I just like that one. Welcome and goodbye. So I thought it as a good way to wrap up here. He passed, and the memories of AOL, right?
Yeah, and what seemed like an offhand audio alert that became deeply ingrained into our culture and our pop culture.
There's a movie named You've Got Mail in honor of that wave file.
Tom Hanks and what was it? Tom
Meg
Hanks
Ryan.
and Meg Ryan. Yeah. Yeah, but R.I.P. It was we all lived in AOL. In fact, I met my wife on AOL, so it must have did something right.
You got chat rooms.
So yes, you've got chat rooms. So all right, let's go ahead and wrap up. That this was a great show. I'm so glad, Kelly, you were able to make it this week, and we just had a blast here, and there we'll do it again next week. But until then, let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon. It's at intouchwithios at techhangout.social. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. Become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming, which is Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. Thanks to Brian F., Aaron Cletus, and Joe, a new listener. I'm glad you were able to make it tonight. And a number of others. You can go there and watch the live streams live, as well as watch the past live streams and listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard for many of the topics we discuss are lifted into that magazine. The link is on the show notes. You can subscribe to our show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, many others. But just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us is out there on our website. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Mastodon at AG65 at mastodon.cloud. Again, Kelly Guimont, so glad you were able to make it here tonight. We're so glad you were here. Where can people find you?
You can find me here. You can find me on a shiny new episode of The After Show, which is the podcast I record with Mike.
Oh, yay.
That's now out. And for those who are not regular listeners, if you do listen to the show and you admit in public that you do, we will say hi to you at the end of the next episode. It's that simple. We also really love validation, and the fact that anybody is listening is very exciting to us. So please, if you do, come say hi, and back to you. So you can find me there occasionally. Now that my Tuesday nights are not usually booked solid, you might find me pestering Chuck Joyner and doing my best to make sure he doesn't stay on topic. And you can find me on Mastodon, where I'm Verso at mastodon.social. And the rest of the time, I'm probably playing Pokemon Go.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Ben Roethig, thank you for being here. I'm so glad you were able to make it. And where can people find you?
Well, Dave, you can find me at Ben Roethig on your social media of choice. You can find my writings and ravings at roethig.tech. Or should I say roethigtech.com or roethigtech.blog, whatever you want to use. You can also find me, work schedule permitting, on such shows as here on In Touch with iOS, Mac Voices Live, Chuck Joyner, and occasionally on the British Tech Network.
All right. And Marty Jencius, thank you for being here. Again, it was a blast being on your show this week, as well as I'm always glad you're here as well. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm having a good time with the show. But first, you find me here on Thursday nights, and you'll also find me Tuesday nights with Chuck Joyner on Mac Voices Live. I do 2 shows. I do more than 2, but I'm promoting these 2. The Vision Profiles on Monday nights with Eric Bolden at 9 p.m. You can catch us on YouTube Live or just pick it up on podcast if you want. And then one that I started, we're into our 2nd episode and we're doing it weekly, called Old Mac Gang, or OMGs. And the panel consists of guys from 67 to 87 and women, if we can get some women in there in that age range, who are old Mac users. And what the topics are short. We keep them to under 30 minutes, and it's about issues that people in their senior seasoned age deal with technology. Last night's episode was about Apple Hearing and the hearing test and hearing aids. So we're kind of catching that niche. We don't expect a lot of folks to come in, but it's a fun show, and these guys are just fun to be with. So that's Wednesday nights at 9:00 Eastern time, and you can catch us on the pod service. You can find me at Jencius at mastodon.social.
Marty,
Great.
the phrase that pays for your OMGs podcast is vintage, of a particular vintage.
Okay.
We can make a note of it.
Or
I'll work some
retro. Like
graphics.
retro's good
Yeah.
too. Yeah. But yeah.
Last but certainly not least, Jeff Gamet, thank you as always for being here. Appreciate it. Where can people find you?
It's always a treat to get to be here. And Dave, I appreciate how incredibly patient you are with me and how tolerant you are of me. Seriously, that is not lost on me. All right, so social media, JGamet everywhere, but I'm active on Mastodon and Instagram. And then shows. Tuesdays, Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live, here on Thursdays with you, Dave, on In Touch with iOS. Then on the British Tech Network, as Ben pointed out with his fancy accent, the Big Show on Thursdays, the Mac Show on Fridays. Ryan Chaffin and I do the Context Machine, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you supporting the show and being here. I hope you enjoyed it because we enjoyed doing it. Until next time, thanks again, and we'll talk again soon.